And we're live.
Got the brown bag special tonight, folks. So you know it's gonna be good.
Dustin, guess what?
What's that?
Ugh. I think I got like baby drool or puke or something on my shirt.
It's all right. It's just a Spider-Man shirt. It's not like it happened to anything good.
Yeah, but
And
no,
he's frozen.
it's a Miles and Spider-Gwen shirt.
Yeah. And don't worry, it's not what you think in the brown bag special. It's just
His
the
scale
water and the M&Ms, baby.
and his scale to weigh out all the calories of the M&Ms.
What's that?
I said in your little scale to weigh out
Oh yeah.
M&M calories.
I'm kind of pumped about tonight's show. Been a minute since we've had a show that was like something to get super excited about, other than me and Nick just deciding right before we go live, like, what are we going to talk about? I don't know. We'll figure it out. And we
I
just kind
love
of
all
call it
of
in the
the
room.
shows we do. They're all excellent, top notch. At least top 933
I
videos.
mean, I wouldn't say all that, but you know, tonight should be. So we have multiple special guests tonight, including Mr. Birch. And we're going to be talking about Comic Cons tonight. So if you've been going to shows or thinking about going to shows, tonight should be a good show. We got some friends of ours. Some of them we go to shows with. We got a guy that's on the other side of the country, but I know he hits shows up all the time. We're going to be talking about what kind of shows we've been going to, prices we've been seeing, books we've been seeing, what the crowds have been like. Talk about our favorite shows, the ones we're going to this year. We're going to try to get into all of it. So, I hope you guys are ready for that. I can't think of anything else to.
Let's just jump right into it.
All right, cool. All right, so you guys have seen this guy on the channel before, my buddy Lawrence from Mighty Comics and Collectibles. If you guys aren't following him on YouTube, then your YouTube, what is it called? The thing where you scroll on YouTube, the feed, your YouTube feed probably sucks and you're missing out. So but glad to have you back, man. We had a good long talk last time you were on.
Yes, man. Thanks for having me. It's good to be back.
Absolutely, absolutely. If you guys want to see somebody who is killing the game in 2023 with the pickups, man, you guys need to go check my buddy out because he has picked up. I mean, shit. Outside of, I mean, the only things that I can think of bigger than what he's picked up this year is maybe Tech 27, Action 1, and Marvel 1. But I mean, you know, I'm sure those are already in the brain stream. So
Yeah, no, I don't know about that one, but thank you for the compliments, man.
Oh,
Definitely
yeah.
been a good year to start.
Yeah, for sure, man, for sure. And I'm gonna bring in my buddy Steven. If you guys follow Elite Comics 11 on Instagram, you might follow Steven on Instagram, Minor Comic Keys.
That's close. Minor Keys Comics.
So I did have it right the first time.
You did. You did.
Damn it.
Thanks, gentlemen. Thanks for having me on. I'm excited on
What
this
a
one.
scrub.
I know. You'd think we don't talk all the time or anything.
Literally all the time.
And the last guy I'm bringing on is the guy that introduced me to Steven. And this is my best buddy, Jeff, right here. And he does not have a YouTube channel. He doesn't have Instagram. He doesn't have a phone number, an address, or any of that. So basically, he doesn't exist. But this is a guy that I met. Wow, it's been a year now. Met him at Huntsville Comic Con last year. Had to drive 3.5, almost 4 hours to another state to meet a guy and his brother and nephew that live 30 minutes down the road from me. But it's been a pleasure for sure.
And it's
Yep, thank y'all
changed
for having me,
Dustin's
man.
life.
Yeah, that's definitely not an untrue statement at all. I'm digging Justin's face right now. I
It's
don't
just
think
frozen
we've
with a big
ever-
old smile.
I mean, you know what? If he had to freeze though, that's the face to freeze on for sure. I mean, that's it. So I know this year I've been to, if you include the 1 day show in Atlanta, I've probably been to like 5, maybe 6 shows this year. Nick, how many of you been to, Nick? I can't even remember.
Lexington, Huntsville.
Is that it?
I think so this year. Well, I guess
Okay.
you don't include like the Rocket City Toy Con from October. Or anything
No.
like that, right? Just 2023.
Okay.
Oh, we did go to Atlanta Comic Con, so 3.
Oh yeah, 3. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that one
So
sucks.
you're like, I mean, it's a good thing that you're part of this YouTube channel. Otherwise, I don't even know if you'd have made the cut for this.
Right.
Justin, I don't know if he is able to speak or not, but I know Justin has hit like 3 or 4 this year minimum, because he's like every weekend it seems like he's at a show. How many have you hit this year so far, Lawrence?
I've hit 3 bigger ones and 1 smaller one that kind of runs every month in my area. So, but 3 big ones and the 1 small one. So
Cool. What about you, Steven?
I got 2 big shows or bigger shows, and then a couple local things. So
Yeah. And Jeff, I mean, I know, but how many you think we've been to this year?
Pretty much the same. I would say, a couple of the bigger shows, maybe 2, because I did Lexington and Huntsville, and then of course our Atlanta show that we hit, on
Mhm.
every quarter. So, and maybe
I know you guys
maybe
went to that
one
toy
in
show in
Springfield.
Iowa.
About the same.
Yeah. Because even though it was a toy show you guys went to, you still picked up some.
Oh yeah.
Good comics.
The toy show in Ohio, man, that was amazing. I mean,
Yeah.
and I actually picked up some good books there, and it was like, I mean, you're at a toy show, nobody was looking, and there were actually some comic vendors with some early stuff, a lot of Golden Age stuff. I was pleasantly surprised. Picked up some really good Gold Key stuff. So, yeah, I didn't even think about that one.
Yeah.
Was that Toy Hio?
Yeah. Right around, I think seven buildings, 700 vendors. Man, it was great. I think it was Xenia, Ohio, I think.
Mhm.
But man, it'll definitely be an annual thing for me and my brother both. We're gonna go back every year for sure.
Yeah. I think that I think I'm gonna try to tag along next year because it sounded
Yeah.
awesome. Justin's a big toy collector too. I mean, if he were to walk into your space, I'm pretty sure he'd have a mild heart attack at some of the stuff that I've seen down there. And then if he
Yeah,
was to
you
go
and
to
Richie, it's
if he was to go to Richie's house, I don't think we'd be able to resuscitate him.
Yeah, Richie's got some really great toys. I mean,
it's
that's his-
wild.
Yeah.
So it was funny because the first time Dustin had gone over there, he texted me and he's telling me all this stuff like, "Oh, you'll never believe what these guys have." I'm like, "Yeah, I think you're full of shit, so I don't really care." And I did. I didn't believe any of it. I was like, I don't know if maybe it's just like a lot of the new Star Wars stuff that he's mistaking for the older stuff or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I
Yeah.
show up that day and I'm like, holy Jesus, this is insane.
Yeah. My brother's like, I think that what was on Doc Holliday when he was explaining to Wyatt about Johnny Ringo. I mean, my brother's just this giant hole that can't be filled when it comes to toys.
It's
Like
wild, man.
He loves his comics. He loves comics. He loves the cons, and he loves the hustle of the comic world. And it's like, buy, sell, flip, looking for the next thing. He loves it. But when it comes to the toys, he does not sell.
Yeah.
And the toys is crazy. The toys are much, much harder to find.
Yeah.
They're so much more scarce.
It's something you literally hear about and like,
You have to see it.
it's just, you just like you might hear about it, but those things don't really exist in my mind. Like those are the kind
like
of things
that
like
Predator
Mystery Channel-
shipping box he's got, like, or is it Alien? The
Yeah.
Alien.
Oh yeah, the Kenner Alien. Yeah, still boxed and with the shipping box. I mean, that was a great find for sure.
Yeah. It's
and then
wild.
Jeff, you guys got a friend that makes Richie's collection look like small potatoes with the Millennium Falcon original mold. And
I mean, Tom, you hear a lot of guys, and it's like, you hear somebody, they say, "Oh, well, I wrote the book on this." Well, Tom Derby literally wrote the book. I mean, if you pick up the best Star Wars book, the Kellerman Star Wars book, if you just flip through it, every photo that means it's photo courtesy of Tom Derby, photo courtesy of Tom Derby. And just
I saw it
over and
last
over.
night.
It's just, I mean, he really, the things he has is amazing. I mean, his clientele is everybody from Favreau to Dave Filoni. I mean, Rick Springfield. I mean, he's the guy, man. When it comes to toys, I mean, but you know, Tom was the head guy at AFA for years. He and his dad before he sold it, and now he still owns what's called Collector Investment Brokerage. So if you've got an important toy, a prototype, or anything that a Kenner employee would have, you will see his certificate with it. It'll always have what we call a CIB certificate, and he authenticates. I mean, he's the guy to go through.
Yeah, that definitely some impressive stuff for sure. I mean, and that's just what I've seen. I mean,
and he's got some great comics too. I mean, when I remember when I walked in and he was like, "I don't collect comics," you know. I'm a toy guy, and then I walk up to the case. You know, he doesn't collect comics, so he's got a Promise collection, Captain America 1. He's got a Superman 1. He's got the full run of everything Marvel from AF-15, FF1, you know. And I'm just sitting there thinking, okay, this guy doesn't collect comics, and he's got a better collection than 99% of the people that I know. So I'm like, stop collecting comics. Don't even think about collecting comics. You know, there'll be nothing. But he's a great guy, man. Great guy.
Yeah, he sounds like it for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So at the shows that we've been going to, what have you guys been seeing like crowd wise as far as like size? And I mean, does it seem like most of the people that are they there more for autograph signings? Are they there for just the cosplay? Or do you see like that there's still a lot of people there actively digging through bins and there to buy comics? Just whoever.
I could tell you that at C2E2, I mean, there was a crowd. I mean, that was my 4th year going to C2E2, and I think the crowd was by far the biggest that I'd ever seen. I worked the booth. I don't know if you're familiar with Red Hood Comics, Rob at Red Hood Comics. I worked his booth there during C2E2, and he killed it. I mean, he killed it. And I mean, there was people in his booth, you know, the way Rob sets booths up. I mean, he's got a real clean setup, and I mean, there was no less than 6 or 7 people actively shopping in his booth the entire time.
Yeah.
And I make it a point to go around and ask dealers like, hey, you know, how's the show been doing? And I've heard, I mean, at C2E2, I heard nothing negative whatsoever. So
that's good.
Yeah, for me personally, it's not a comic show. I mean, really, there's only maybe 10 vendors that are in the whole place, and 6 of them have, you know, the books that, you know, maybe are reasonably priced and a little bit more on the bigger side or the rarer side, things that I like. But yeah, C2E2 is just, you know, more of a fan expo than it is a comic show. But, you know, there's big dealers there. I mean, Rob's there, Harley's there, you know, Reese's Rare Comics and all of them. But I definitely saw that there was some empty booth space that they converted to like eating tables.
Oh, okay.
And you could tell that they had some empty vendor spaces there, but the crowd was there for sure.
Okay.
So I went to 3 shows, 2 of them being like straight comic book shows, bigger shows. One was King Con, which I'm sure you guys have heard of in Northeast New York, New Jersey. And it was all guys from my area and gals. And the place is mobbed. I went to a winter show like in January, February in northern New Jersey. And they kind of had books, they kind of had toys, they kind of everything. It wasn't as packed. And then I went to a show 2 weeks ago, a toy/comic show. I couldn't move. That's how packed it was. It was like just wiggling around people to get to booths was almost impossible.
Wow.
Mob.
Dang.
Did it seem like at the did it seem like people were actively purchasing books at those shows and stuff? Like you saw people walking around with stuff?
So that show in particular, the crazy toy comic show, the booths that had comics, they were running deals. Not all of them. Some of the booths were ridiculously priced. And then a couple of guys who were really busy, like they had, if you spent $200, they'd give you $50 off. If you spent over $50, they give you $10 off. So like they were mobbed because of their good prices. They were crazy. Now, a couple of other booths, like one guy was absolutely insane. He had like a mid-grade FF52. He wanted like $3,000 for. It was like so off his mind. Like, I don't know what he was thinking.
Yeah.
Like, so it's been a mix of both. So that show was kind of crazy, but the other shows were they were moderately priced. I didn't think they were too bad, but I still think for cons, I get why they're a little expensive, but I still think as right now, I'm finding better deals elsewhere.
Yeah.
Okay.
And see, for us, I'll tell you what, Justin, you go first. Are you still there?
Yes. Can you still hear me?
We
yeah.
can hear you. It's so refreshing to have you back, even if it's for one night only, like the old WWE stuff.
And audio only.
We'll take it.
I'm half back. So I've done 3 shows so far this year. One was just like a hotel ballroom type show.
Mm-hmm.
I did a toy show last weekend, and then C2E2 back in March, end of March, beginning of April.
Where you were a guest. How cool is that?
No, I wasn't a guest. If I was a guest, they would have paid for my table. I'd pay for.
Oh, okay. Well, still, you were on Artist Alley. Still cool, right?
The hotel ballroom show, like that thing was packed. Like there's clearly a sign on the door when you walk in, capacity 95 people, which they clearly were.
Oh, wow, 95
more than that. But that was a good show. It was packed, and if you knew what books you were looking for, I think it was enjoyable.
Right on.
So for us, we went to Atlanta Comic-Con was not good, I don't think, for comic book buying. The crowd wasn't there. The big Atlanta Comic-Con, not the quarterly show.
Yeah.
The crowd wasn't there. I mean,
even on Saturday, I mean, it wasn't. I mean, there was like you didn't hardly bump into people the whole time. I mean, you could get in there and dig in the boxes, wherever you wanted to, and no problem.
Yeah. Everybody was basically there for the guests. Was basically where the crowd was, or they were, at the anime stuff. But like as far as the comic vendors, there might have been one. And Jeff, you and Richie were there. I mean, y'all weren't there, but maybe 1 hour or two max. I think enough for Richie to have a beer or two, and y'all were gone. It was really interesting because you expect that one to be massive, and floor space and square foot it is, but it's just people are there for the guests, and there was no comic book buying. Talking to the vendors, it just wasn't happening, and some of the bigger vendors that we had seen previous years there weren't there either.
Yeah, and that show's kind of been like that for the past like 3 or 4 years, but it's been owned by a different company every year, and they if you follow them on Facebooks and stuff, like they don't promote any of the comic guests that are going to be there. They promote the movie stars and stuff like that, which I know that's what brings in the money. But if we're comic guys and we're looking for a show to go get comics, and we're looking on these Facebooks and we're looking at these shows, and we're not seeing anything advertised like for vendors or artists or anything to bring the comic book people in, like you're hurting your vendors at that point, I think, too, because here I am thinking like, well, there's probably not even going to be, anybody selling comic books really there. So, I mean, I'm not going to spend the money on it. I'll save it and go to the quarterly show.
Yeah.
But
the last few shows that were coming up that I was interested in, as a matter of fact, I would go to the website. Of course, you could hit the guest and would bring up the guest list immediately. But if I wanted to check out the vendors, I just wanted to get a feel. Am I, I'm going to have 15 comic vendors versus a lot of other things. When you hit, vendor, it just wants you to sign up to be a vendor. They very few times do you hit the vendor list and it actually lists the vendors. Because they did that for Huntsville. Thankfully they did that, and you could literally go down there and see we're going to have X amount of comic dealers, X amount of toy dealers. So it kind of helps make a decision. Because I'm gonna tell you, man, for me that's the shift. That's the shift is the comic cons. How few, and especially the big ones, because a lot of guys come in for the big shows. The big shows are a 2 or 3 day show, and you wind up getting a room for a couple of days. Next thing you know, you're at a show and you've looked through everything in 4.5 hours, and you're there for 2 days. I mean, that's the shift that I've seen. That's what the disheartening part of it's about. I mean, it's like you almost want to take away the Comic Con name and just turn it into, say, superhero show or something, just to do with that genre, versus a Comic Con, where a Comic Con's like the one we go to in Atlanta. It's just wall to wall books, so that hey man, we're going to a comic show.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you have the opposite of that, like Heroes Con, where you wish it was 7 days because you can spend 5-6 hours at every booth, and it's not 15 comic books booths,
No.
it's 90% comic booths. There's 40 of the best dealers from the country there, and there's not a crowd. It's not like one of these things where you're
Yeah.
shoulder to shoulder and you're fighting for bin space. That's not it. It's people that know what they want, and they're there for comic books. And it's I mean, Heroes, Baltimore, and Little Giants, as far as the East Coast is concerned, those are my kind of shows. Like that's where you go, and it's almost. And I was talking to Jeff about this. It's almost business like. Like I'm looking forward to seeing Jeff, and I'm looking forward to seeing everybody, Dustin, Richie, and all of them. But like, and there's gonna be a lot of people that I know, but like I don't really have time to bullshit. Like I got things to do here at this show.
So
And
that is the funniest thing. So I
See, I told you I'm not the only one.
because you know where I'm coming at. So Dustin has a sickness. Okay.
It's okay because I know the people on the bottom are definitely sick as well. So you
this
go ahead.
man has a sickness. I've talked about it briefly. We show up to these shows, and if it is not immediately comic books and like just to his expectation, it's immediate depression. Okay. And it is like Lexington. When we recorded that video, dude was so depressed. It was unreal. But now I see, right, that it like has spurned from you guys because you're like, you know, Dustin's the same way. It's like, hey, cool, whatever. But I'm gonna go dig in a long box. We'll talk later. And that is the funniest thing in the world because
and that's what happened at Heroes last year. I'd never been to Heroes, and Justin, he can confirm. He literally, when we walk in the first day, he says, "Look, you need to prepare yourself." He's like, matter of fact, let's walk over to this window. I want you to look over this window so you can see the floor. That way you can be prepared for what you're about to walk into, so you don't get, just overwhelmed. And he walks me over to the window, and I look down at the con floor, and I mean, my jaw hits the ground. I was like, dude, those are all comic book vendors.
Quality.
Every one of them.
Quality.
Yeah. And he's like, yeah. I was like, dude, I don't have enough time for this. He was like, what do you mean? I was like, I don't have enough time to look at every book that every one of these booths has. Like,
yeah, you have to make sacrifices while you're there.
Yeah.
First of all, you can't eat, so forget about that.
yeah.
Bring some
Justin was
trail
getting mad
mix
at
or
me
something.
oh yeah. He was getting mad at me because I didn't want to take lunch one day. And I was like, no, go ahead and go eat, dude. I was like, I only have one more day, dude. I gotta get in here. And the whole time I'm digging, he's standing beside me, and I'm like, dude, I've been here for like an hour. I was like, I know somebody has found something at another booth that I wanted, and it drives me nuts. And there's guys from YouTube that I know that I'm friends with that I haven't met in person, and they're walking around on this, and I'm barely even throwing a wave. Like, I'm like, these guys all think I'm an asshole, but they don't understand. Like, I'm so laser focused at this point on just wanting to see everything and not miss something, and just overwhelmed in my freaking happy place. And I mean, I didn't have time to talk to anybody.
Well, Dustin, can I give you a little hack, maybe for you? I mean, I'm sure you know it, but like for your viewers, find a way to get in on a vendor badge and get their setup day.
Oh yeah.
That's when you go in there. You're not here to talk to anybody there. You're there for the deals. And then hopefully by Saturday and then Sunday, now you can relax. You've kind of seen the things, and but if you get there on setup day, don't even talk to me. Give me one of these head nods. And then, I'll see you Saturday. Okay, cool. Thanks.
Yeah.
So.
And Steven, I mean, you really, I know you weren't kidding. It's job mentality when you're there. Like I can see us backing into the parking spot at the hotel in the morning so that we leave straight out. I mean, it's crazy. Like this is how I knew that Heroes was a different level show. It was on a Thursday, I think. So crowd was low, set up, everybody's still setting up, doing their thing. I'm walking around to these vendors, and there's a guy, tons of books up under his table. He doesn't have everything out yet. He's got a 9.2 New Mutants 98 Mark Jewelers, and the book looked like it had a shot. I mean, it's a legitimate shot at a 9.8, and that book's strong in a 9.8. It's really strong. So I'm looking at it. He wants $1,000 for it. It's not bad at the time. I don't know what it is now. had a shot, and I don't know. I think Britt called me. Britt called me and said, "Hey, can you come check something out for me?" So I was like, "Yeah, I'll come check it out." I wasn't afraid anybody was going to buy the book. There was hardly anybody in there at the moment. I slid the book back in, slid it back up under the table, and I told the guy, "Hey, I'll be back." So I go halfway across the show. I look at Britt's book. We go back to the booth to check with Bobby, do a few things. So I said, I'm going back to check out this and do a deal for this New Mutants 98. I couldn't find the booth. I couldn't. Now, at what show, a New Mutants 98 Mark Jewelers is like a highlight at any show. You know exactly where that booth is at. I mean, exactly. Heroes was so vast. And what happened was the guy that I was negotiating with, I've come to grips that he might have left to go get something. Somebody else was in the booth. I could not find that booth. I don't know what.
Yeah.
I couldn't find it.
I mean, that's Heroes in a nutshell right there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It was. And then I realized as I went on, if I see something, if I know something, and then I started taking pictures. If I left, like there was a guy there that had, Dustin, you remember this guy? He had some of the highest grade raw books I'd ever seen. Every
Oh,
book,
the guy from South Florida, right?
South Florida, it was ridiculous. So
no, in his flip boxes, he had 9.4 early ASMs. In his flip boxes,
Detective Comics 9.2s, 9.4s, and it was crazy. But so that if I left, I would take a picture of the vendor's booth. If I left for any reason, I'd take a picture of the vendor's booth so that I could find my way back to that guy. I'd take a picture of the books, the booth, and then I would go and come back. It was that crazy.
Yeah.
It was that crazy.
Because you might be on your way back to that booth, and I would get distracted because I would see something else somewhere else.
Yeah.
And then I'd spend an hour there, and then I'm like, no, I got to go over here and look at this book, you know.
Yeah.
And because maybe I think I went back to get money out of my bag to go buy a book.
Yeah. Yeah.
And all I was going to do was walk back to our booth, grab my money, and go straight back and buy this book. It was like 3 hours later, I made it back to that booth, and the book was gone because I couldn't stop getting distracted by stuff and like, oh my God, I got to check this out. I've never seen this book. I got to put it in my hands and look at it. You know,
it was crazy. I remember I was walking somewhere, had to use the restroom. I walked by this guy's booth. He has 2 student nurse ones, which are scarce anyway. You can hardly find the student nurse. Both look like they were decently high grade. I do it. I stop. I'm on the way to the restroom. I stop. I negotiate the deal for both these student nurses. I never went to the restroom. Totally forgot to go to the restroom. Totally forgot where I was at. You know, wind up doing a deal with 2 student nurses. Take them back to the booth. You feel like you're on this Indiana Jones mission, and like you got to have a headquarters, and you really do. You can't be running around in there with just a backpack. You have to know someone, get a headquarters, get set up so that you can continuously take books back, tie in with everybody, and get back out on the floor. It's crazy. It's nuts.
Yeah. And we're doing it right this year, though.
Oh yeah.
Folks is going to be looking at us sideways, but hey,
yeah, they will be, especially us being on the main aisle like that.
It's going to be that hate us because you ain't us thing. So at the shows that we've been going to, I mean, as far as like comic vendors to other vendors, I mean, what have you guys been seeing ratio wise as far as, you know, and I know we kind of spoke about this, so we'll talk about that and well, let's just move on to this. Let's talk about what kind of books have you guys been seeing, like mainly I'm talking like wall books. Like what are the walls looking like at the shows? And what are you noticing stuff actually moving off of the walls? Because I know if you guys are like me, you keep an eye on these walls when you're walking by. You see something that's at a decent price, you're like, all right, I'm gonna walk around. If at the end of the day that book's still there and it doesn't look like anything's moved off that person's wall, they're probably going to be willing to make a deal because they're probably trying to get that vendor the money they paid for their vendor spot back. I know that's how I scored that Edge of Spider-Verse 2 last year at Huntsville. I was walking around this guy's booth, saw it up there. It was a decent price, but I was walking around the show for like 2 hours, and I kept telling Nick, I was like, hold on, let me go check this guy's wall again. And I would look, and I mean, nothing moving.
I was going to say, it's been pretty repetitive, not only at one show, but amongst several shows we've been to. The vendors that we know that go to Lexington, go to Huntsville, their wall books have remained pretty much the same, if not exactly. I mean,
Yeah,
almost.
some of them look like they have the same books that they had on the wall last year.
Yeah,
Even
the only person at Lexington that was consistently moving books, I mean, was DT's, and they were
Yeah.
basically just moving a ton of raw books, and they've talked about basically going purely raw.
yeah,
But
And
other
they-
than that, I mean, the same guys that were Lexington, that were at Huntsville had very similar wall books, and having that same conversation where a lot of folks just aren't at some of those shows to buy comic books anymore. They're a lot more of the pop culture, which I think
Yeah.
is what Jeremy does a really good job about. Is he doesn't misrepresent what his show is about, where it's a Comic-Con, it's a pop culture expo, and there's some comic books there as well, with some good vendors, like great. I mean, he has a great booth, and but there's no misrepresentation about what to expect there. Whereas you go to some of these other ones that are Comic-Cons, and there's 3 booths, and they all have the same exact wall books. So
yeah.
I don't know.
And are you guys noticing, like, on these? Does it seem like people are buying less graded books and going more to the raws? I mean, what are you seeing, Lawrence?
I'm saying exactly that. When I'm to the 3 or 4 shows that I've been to this year, everybody's asking about raws, and for the most part, not everybody, but it seems like most of the dealers that I've met with, that I've spoken to, everything is they're selling a lot of raws, having trouble selling high price slabs. And I haven't seen any monster books when I go to these shows. Like in the past, I've gone to shows where I've seen AF-15s on the wall, I've seen Hulk 1s on the wall, the bigger books. I don't see that books. At least I haven't this year. I'm seeing, mid-level tier books on walls. I'm seeing more DC on walls. I definitely see slabs and I definitely see raw, but I don't see as many slabs as raw moving now, for sure.
Yeah. I know when I went to South Carolina, there was one booth there, and they had nothing but modern, and it was just all like variant stuff, and it was a huge booth, and in their boxes and on their walls, it was nothing but like recent modern variants and stuff. And I felt bad for these guys because I mean there was no action at their booth the whole weekend. And that was one of the better shows I've been to this year, comic book wise. That was probably the best one I've been to this year. Huge variety. There were booths that had a lot of really out there stuff that you just don't see very often. And that's what I love. I love when I go into a booth and I'm like, damn, dude, you've got like 10 books on your wall that nobody else is gonna have, in this room. And maybe, the last 3 shows nobody's had stuff like this. And but yeah, I mean those guys, I definitely think they were having a rough time selling like the ratio variants and the exclusive stuff, raw or slabbed. So
it's funny that you bring that up, Dustin, because I've kind of actually noticed a trend as far as some of these collectors that really got into it in 2020 during the boom, and just started grabbing up mid-grade Marvel keys because everybody else was saying that was cool. And as the maturity came in, and I just mean to use the word the maturity as in like the longer they collected, they started going towards like things that they actually liked on their own, as opposed to being kind of influenced, if you would, by other people. And I actually have noticed some people that were typical Silver Age guys go towards like rare modern stuff. I have seen a shift like that. I think that it might, and this is obviously in conflict with what you're saying, as nobody being at that booth. But me personally, I find myself stopping and saying, "Oh, like, for example, like this kind of thing, you know what I mean? Like this
okay,
kind of
okay, just real quick,
yeah.
because now you see, like I see, look at it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
It's legit.
That's not a normal modern.
No, yeah. So I mean, the hairs just stood up on my arms, and I already knew you had that damn book.
Yeah, and I mean,
This booth, they had like literally. I'm talking like they had like the variants, not rare stuff. I'm talking like heavily printed variants and stuff like that.
okay,
If they had stuff like you're talking about,
okay.
then yeah, I would have been in there, but they didn't have anything like that. It was just, I mean, like the heavily printed, like thousands and thousands of covers, stuff that got hot over the past couple years and died
Yeah.
down. But
Okay. Well,
but
I mean,
I
hell,
agree.
you printed out, you pressed a 9.8 for one of my favorite modern ratio variants
Yeah.
that I actually just got back today. I haven't even opened the box. So,
Oh, okay. Yeah,
but
that
I was
cable and-
very, very happy to get the Cable and X-Force 1 in 150 Deodata ratio, the variant there. It's an awesome cover, and I don't know. I just find myself gravitating towards things that are just like maybe they printed, 1,500 or 2,000 of them total, and
Yeah.
are by cool artists and have awesome covers. So I just wanted to kind of interject there. Kind of, I've shifted a little bit more of my dollars into that direction.
Yeah, and I do the same thing. I mean, I still buy modern stuff, stuff that I'm really into, and like I said, if I had a shot at finding that freaking Wolverine that you just pulled, I mean, hell, last year one of the most exciting books I saw at Heroes Con was the Wolverine 145 Nabisco variant. I mean, stuff like that, like I still get super excited for. But Something's Killing Children #1. The Jenny Frizen cover, I mean, those stuff like that, like it's not really stuff that's going to bring people to your booth, I don't think, anymore, as much as some of these others. But I definitely think that there is still modern stuff out there that will bring the money and bring the eyeballs for sure.
Yeah.
And hell, this week I picked up off of Elite 4 Power Rangers 9.8s that I've been looking for a long time. Got a great deal, $300 for the whole set shipped. Stuff like that. I mean, you guys know I buy all the freaking everything Mortal Kombat, and so there's definitely modern stuff that I'm still into as well.
I got 3 of these that I'm sending your way here pretty soon. So.
Oh, right on, dude. Hell yeah. Justin, what have you been noticing, man, as far as the selection of books and all?
I think a lot of it has to do with the type of show that you're at and where you're at. I mean, the toy show that I was at last week was great for toys, but the comic book selection was pretty subpar. I don't think I've ever been more excited than I was last weekend when I saw a vendor who had a copy of Giant Size X-Men. To me, it was just like, oh, cool. Someone here actually has cool stuff.
Right. Did you buy it for me? Or are you just waiting to give it to me when we meet up at Heroes? Is that what's going on?
Oh, sorry. My camera's off. You can't see me making this face.
Oh, yeah. I just figured all the, wonderful grade bumps you've gotten over the last, 12 months. And, maybe you just wanted to surprise me, but we'll wait and see. I'm okay with waiting. It's only a month out. So
I'll tell you what. I'll buy you your first slice of cheesecake from Cheesecake Food Truck.
I think you at least owe me that for the Hulk 181, the X-Men one, and I guarantee you I'll end up getting you your ASM one. So that'll probably, I'm sure that I'll factor into that for you.
Okay, fine. You can get toppings on your cheesecake.
All right. Now I feel like we're equal. What about you, Jeff? I mean, what have you been? Because I know you and I go to a lot. Oh, there it is.
Oh. Wow.
I know you and we go to a lot of the same shows. Hell, a lot of times we're shoulder to shoulder dipping in boxes and stuff and buy a lot of the same stuff. But I know you also have a lot better eye than I do for, well, you got a lot more knowledge about stuff. I might see something, look right past it, not even know what it is, but you
I won't say I have any more knowledge than any. My wife says that all of my knowledge is useless knowledge, so I'm going to go with that. But for me, it's been a complete shift, especially on the big books. The big books, all your Hulk 1s, AF-15s, they have plateaued. They've got to a point where it's like they're not really coming down anymore. I think they stabilized. But what is moving in every grade, and no matter what the price, things are doubling, is pre-code horror. Pre-code horror is exploding, and like if you're keeping up with all the anything, like just say like Chamber of Chills 19, these books, they're really pushing, and it's almost like things that have nothing to do with movies. I think people got tired, they got burned out. We had 26, 27 MCU films, and it peaked, and it felt like, because every movie that was coming out, it was like my book's doubling, my book's tripling, and then all of a sudden everything just felt crash, and then everybody shifted, and you look and you're like, okay, I can have an issue of I can a 7.5 Hulk 181, but wait a second, here's a copy of Chamber of Chills or a pre-code. I can pick that up, or a nice Frazetta cover, and things started shifting. And then and me too, I started looking at a lot of a lot of your science fiction stuff, a lot of your early stuff, and then it wasn't that the price difference wasn't that much. So the money started shifting, and the next thing you know, it's like pre-code horror, all of these 50s books, a lot of great. I mean, like a friend of mine, he pointed out to me, he said, look at all of these sensation comics, all of these early Wonder Womans. They were pennies on the dollar of what you would think they would be. And then all of a sudden, everybody, they shifted interest, and they started buying Golden Age, and they started buying pre-code horror, and all of your Marvel keys just kind of flattened out a little bit. And when you went to the cons and you saw it, everybody was they were willing to do some deals on the big stuff, partial trade. Well, not AF-15s and stuff, but when it got to the pre-code horror stuff, the stuff that I liked or that I wanted, it was pay or nothing. I mean, they didn't want to, negotiate or deal on anything. That's one of the shifts that I've seen. It is not necessarily the prices, but more so the shift in genre. And it also, I've seen a shift in what we call sentimental books, a real big shift in sentimental books, things that meant something to someone. Of course, everybody knows I like Space Ghost. I like all of my cartoon books that when I was growing up, Johnny Quest, Hanna-Barbera, things like this, they just stayed loyal for so long. Scooby-Doo, they were just, low books on the spectrum. And then all of a sudden, and it was because, I paid attention to that kind of stuff. I saw things starting to climb. I saw, George of the Jungle, a lot of the television show books like Bonanza, things that, Andy Griffith showed that had these books that laid dormant for years. People started realizing, wait, I've been buying all of these Marvel keys, Tomb of Dracula 10. I've been banking on these movies and doubling my money. And then all of a sudden you look around and you're like, I should have been buying 3 and 4 copies of this, because no matter if the book goes up or down, I like it. It means something to me. So there's a huge shift. I've seen a huge shift in just the interest of what books people are collecting. And I think that's part of the money. I think the money is shifting to, to stuff like that. Because if you buy a great Frazetta cover, if you got an early famous funnies, or, something that Frazetta did of, the Buck Rogers run, there's no movie that's going to help that. I mean, it's like, you're buying it for what it is. It's great art. It's great cover. It's timeless. And then all of a sudden you're like, you know what? I just paid 3.5 Hulk 181 money for this. And you got an 8.0, a nice famous funnies. Now, not the Buck Rogers covers or anything, but I think that's a big shift. I think people are starting to kind of wake up a little bit to where they're putting their money. And does it mean anything? Am I buying this to hopefully double down that, the next Black Panther is a big hit? Or do I buy something I enjoy and keep it for what it is? And I think that's a shift that I've seen in the comics, and there's not that much of it there. And I think that's part of, like, say, Heroes or just a normal show where we say, that show was a letdown. If we were still collecting early Marvel stuff or just, that type, it was probably a decent show. But as your interest shift or you mature as a collector, they may not have the selection that you're into, where a couple of years ago you were into that. And it was like a great, you look back, that was a great con 2 years ago. And then you walk out and you're like, it really wasn't that good this year. Maybe it's the selection that's changed, or your outlook is changed as a collector. And that show's just not what it meant to you anymore.
That's a great point.
It's funny if I could jump in here, because he brings up something, because I don't know if you guys, I'm on Instagram a lot, and I've gone to the shows that I've gone to this year, but all I'm seeing right now are Golden Age Superman, Golden Age Batman, Wonder Woman, all this stuff, Golden Age stuff that nobody wanted for forever, all of a sudden popping up everywhere. And it kind of It let me down a road of thinking, you know what? I'm not seeing these AF-15s. I'm not seeing these Hulk ones, these bigger Marvel keys anymore. Are the dealers kind of holding those books back at this point because they've come down so far? And now they're putting up all this other stuff that is kind of heating up, like the Precourt horror, like he said, that is hot right now. But like all these Superman books that, that were, not the bigger keys, but the other stuff that are coming out. And even some of I saw some Batman. I forgot the issue with it's Batman and Robin with the Joker with the cards on the front. Like it's a classic cover. I forgot the issue.
15.
Well, I think it might be 15. It's just like all of a sudden I'm seeing these great silver and gold Batman stuff, DC stuff that is all over Instagram and at shows.
Yeah, and I've seen it too. And the thing about it is like when I see a lot of it, I look at it and I'm sitting here thinking to myself, for what this is, for as old as this is, as great as this cover looks, and the grade, that price doesn't seem crazy to me on a lot of it. Like the prices on them seem way reasonable. Like, yeah, sure, I could go buy a Hulk 181 for the same price, or I could get something that is truly scarce, a true rarity in comics that you're not going to walk into a room and throw a rock and you could hit 25 people that have that same book. And that's kind of a mindset change that I've had since I started hanging around with Jeff. I know for sure, cause he kind of instilled that mindset into me where like, yeah, that's a cool book that everybody has, is like, but what if you just hang tight and keep building. And if that's the one you won't get it in this grade though, something that is like going to be a true scarcity, and it'll have a lot more legs down the road if you need it.
Not only, I mean, is there going to be? I mean, it's obvious that there's going to be a shift towards DC over the next 5 years. That's just the way it's going to go. Not only do you have the Marvel fatigue in the actual book, the Marvel fatigue in the MCU, and then the rise of James Gunn and the DCU. That's obviously a natural progression there. But this is actually something once again that Jeff turned me on to, is that these mid-50s Batman books, the print runs are so low because the superhero, and they were struggling to keep Batman alive through those years because it had all gone away from superheroes in the mid 50s. And there's print runs in the 20 and 30K, and that's low. For these days, that's nothing special. But back then, 23, I mean,
Yeah.
That print run is minuscule. And more importantly than that, and then add to a third thing as far as undervalue is concerned, you get like my Rainbow Batman, the Tech 241. I grabbed a 7.5 and I'm like, oh, that's a nice, nice solid upper mid-grade copy. And Jeff's like, why don't you check that census again? And I realized that 8.5 was the highest graded that there is.
Mm-hmm.
And there was only 3 books between that 8.5 and my 7.5 that even existed. So I think that's where the value is. If we're shifting all of a sudden this conversation to what you should be looking for at these shows, I mean, some of these books are out there in 6.0s, and don't shrug your shoulder at 6.0s and 6.5s and 7.0s in that error. Grab them up. They could be in flip boxes with prices like $75 on them or something like that. And you send them off, you get a good grader on a good day, and it gives you a 7.0 or 7.5. You're in the money. I mean, right off the bat. So,
yeah, absolutely.
And a lot of people, as you start to collect, especially these Marvel guys, you will start to look and you'll realize how much more scarce DC is than Marvel in high grade. I mean, early DC books in high grade are just ghost. I mean, you do see 7580 AF-15s. You see them. You see 7580 FF1s. You don't see 80 Showcase 4s. You don't see 80 Showcase 22s. Those early DC books are so scarce. And it's one of the things that goes untalked about as far as like when you're looking at what should I collect and things like that. Those early DC runs, I mean, they were red, and they're beat up. They're beat up. I mean, just like the Rainbow Batman book. And the census is such a quiet thing, especially for what I call stack collecting or run collectors. Batman collectors are like Harley Davidson guys. They love that. They love that character. There's no talking them off the ledge. Batman guys are Batman guys, and guys that have Tech 27s, that have Batman ones, after they get those early first 20 Batmans behind them, they want high grades, and there's not that much to go around. So Batman stuff, like this year when I'm at Heroes, one of the things I'm going to focus on is non-key, Golden Age, Silver Age, high grade Batman. Nobody's picking it up. You hit 9294s and some of those late 1950s, and listen, you can find that book raw in anybody's, not anybody's, but at Heroes, you can find those nuggets in there. They've been glanced over and press clean. You get 8085s and some of these, you'll wind up picking those books up for 120, 140 bucks. They're $2 or $3 grand just because of the scarcity that you cannot find those books in those grades. So that's going to be a focus of mine at Heroes, is picking up non-key, high grade, Golden Age, Silver Age stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been on that train myself. So it's definitely something I've had a lot of fun doing. And you know, when you find them and you and you check it over and then you see, you're like, no, like this is it. Like, and you realize what the price is and what that book is going to be worth when you put it in that case, and know that you're going to get it, know that you're going to hit that grade. Like, there's no doubt. And then you hit that grade. Like it's an awesome thing. Awesome.
One of the best nuggets that I've seen anybody just unfold with here late is one Steven found. Steven found a 9.2 Batman 171. And it was in a collection. The book was literally stored in a cooler, like an igloo cooler, with a stack of other books. The guy sent it in. Steven, did he press and clean it? Did he know to? Did he just send it in?
If I say yes, but I say that he had CCS do it, does that count as actually having it pressed and cleaned?
Probably not. So
okay,
not
so
pressed.
No.
So it was a 9.2 171, and so this stuff's still out there, man. It's still out there.
Yeah,
he's
got to go get it. I mean, you know, those Sheldon Menoff covers that I sent and to you, and I ended up hitting that 9.2 on that one with the Joker is the judge and the jury and the bailiff and all that.
Book, yeah.
I mean that was a book that I paid $200 for, and coming back in a 9.2, it's like now all of a sudden it's, you know, $1,500 book, and like those are the books that are sitting out there. Those are the books that people aren't thinking about. To flip. I mean, the days of movie spec and the wall books and making money off of that ship has sailed, and it's not coming back for a long time. But getting stuff that's off the radar, that's where it's at. And there's avenues and roads for every single genre and desire and error that there is. I mean, you say, okay, I want to do the Golden Age Batman stuff. I want to do modern variants. There's stuff on every level. You don't have to be somebody spending hundreds of dollars. I mean, you can go to a show with $100 and walk out with a stack of books. And if you know what you're doing and you have the knowledge, and if you read up on things, you can turn that stack into 2K easily. Yep. You know, as long as you got a good presser. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what's been everybody's favorite shows they've been to, and we can just kind of go around. Nick, what do you think your favorite show you've been to this year was, and like what made it for you?
Well, for me, it was definitely the Huntsville Expo, and that was strictly because of what we got to do. Right? I mean, you know, I don't know if anybody saw the video we put out. Well, we didn't technically put it out; we produced it. They put it out for them because that's what we produced it for. Was for them. But yeah, that was like far and away my favorite, right? So, and you know, like I'm only looking for really 3 to 5 books this year in general. So I'm not really going to these things for that anyways, you know?
Yeah. But, I figured that was where you were going with it. And I mean, we always have a great time shooting that show. And that's kind of what that show's always been for us. It's a work day, but it's fun though. You know, we get to do a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah.
Kind of walk around and do whatever we want, go wherever we want, talk to whoever we want, walk right up to Shatner and put the camera in his eye if we want to, and so
Well, that almost happened Friday. I almost executed William Shatner by accident. So
that big
Was not
shoulder
ideal.
rig like that took him out.
yeah, I'm sitting there staring at his police escort, all 3 or 4 guys. I'm staring at them. My eye, I can't see out of this side of my eye. 3 or 4 policemen are walking towards me like, oh, this is cool. And then I'm trying to figure out, well, hold on, are they cosplaying? No, they're real police officers. And then my wife grabs me. She goes, Nick, and then I see William Shatner walk by. I'm like, well, they are the worst escort ever because I almost executed Shatner. So,
What about you, Jay?
I'm still hung up on Heroes. I won't lie. I mean, it's like for 2 months. For 2 months after Heroes, it's all I thought about. I was like, I've got to,
There hasn't been
from
a
that
time
point
where
on,
we've gotten
everything else
together
was just
since.
a filler for me. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
so Jeff has the sickness.
There's not one time that Jeff
Nick,
and
I
I have been
promise you.
together since we haven't talked about it.
I promise you, man. And I heard about it for all those years, and I was like, I can't, And then after every book that you ever desired to see was there, but that it was also, it felt like finally that you were able to treasure hunt, and you knew it's every show that I go to, even Huntsville, anywhere I go to, MegaCon, we always, whatever time the show starts, we want to be there an hour before. We always, we get our dealer's badge, we get everything set up hour before. It's a waste of time to get there an hour before at Heroes. You're wasting your time because you cannot find at other shows. You like, I got to be there first. I'm afraid somebody's going to find something or buy something. At Heroes, you cannot cover that much ground with that quality of dealers. You just have to pick an avenue, pick a door, hope you walk through the right door and walk down there and get what you can, because there's no way. It's too vast. There's too much there. I mean, everything from, All American Comics 16, Detective 27, that was Bob Kane's personal file copy, Action 1. I mean, there was a 99 Cap 100. Just everything that you wanted to see, and then just brush all that to the side and say, just give me the dealers. Just give me the dealers that are just selling stuff. And it's crazy. It's crazy. The stuff that's there. And ever since then, and I feel like every con I go to, like Lexington and all that stuff, it's just, I need to go because I love to be around this stuff. I love, having the conversations with everybody, and my brother goes with me, and my nephew, and then, Dustin and Steven and y'all, we see all y'all there. And it's like, for me, it's like, that's part of being there and going there. But as far as the show goes, it's just Heroes. For me, it's only Heroes. And every other show leading up to that is to buy stuff, flip, sell, do some stuff maybe on Instagram or do something here and there. But with Heroes, I won't bring a single book. I will be there with our couch set up and then do nothing but buy all week. Is just buy.
It's like all these other shows have just been like us, getting our little fix until our next fix, until we can get to Heroes and absolutely overdose, because that's
Lawrence,
exactly what it is.
Man, you got to make this trip. You got to make this trip.
You guys make it seem like it's I have to, man. It sounds like it's. How big is the venue? Let me ask you. Like,
it's big.
Large. Yeah, it's large.
big.
I mean, what do you think, Justin? I mean, how big would you describe it as?
Maybe not quite as big as the Javits for New York Comic Con, but it's very similar.
So like the Javits is like 3 floors. So like, is it just 1 floor or?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, it's I would say you could fit 2 full-size football fields in there easily.
Yeah, that's still huge. That's still
Yeah.
bigger than anything outside of like a crazy San Diego and New York Comic Con. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I was there Thursday morning, the whole weekend. I mean, from open to close. And then Saturday I was in there. I got a dealer's bracelet Saturday morning, and I was in there like an hour and a half before the show opened until like an hour and a half after it closed for 3 days. And I did not get to every booth. And it made me sick the whole way home. I was crying to my wife the whole way home. and literally calling Britt, hey man, I swear to God, I'm dying. I can't sleep. Can you see if this guy still has this book and this book? And if he does, let me know. I'll send you. And like I'm on the way home from this show, and I'm still shopping and getting books picked up for me. While I just because I forgot about them, I didn't get back to them. It was, and I knew I wouldn't be able to sleep over it.
When I go to a show, I always like to glance at every booth before I start buying anything. I couldn't even do that there. I would literally
No.
have to just go and go and go. Yeah.
No,
You
that's
get
not gonna happen. Yeah, no.
'Cause I do the
Lawrence, I'm
same
telling you,
thing.
man. And part of the fun is like we always have like this headquarters set up, and like everybody's checking in constant, dropping stuff off. You know, it's like, what did you find? What did you get? I mean, it's just the fun. It's like the aspect that did you find what you're looking for? I mean, everybody's pulling. Like I remember, like the first time I met Justin, he was with Dustin, and like he was looking for, I think it was a What If 105. He was on this like a hard 105 mission, and there it was. I mean, the first booth we walk up on, and it was Chris Faust. Right there was a 105, and it's immediate. Like, okay, well, he found his book, you know, and everybody starts breaking off, and it's like, it's nuts, man. It's nuts.
We need to bring walkie talkies this year because
That
last
is
year,
not a bad idea. At all.
like trying to call each other and he like you missed the phone calls and you know like Britt's trying to call me, hey, I found this over here, come check this out, or you know,
No, that's happening.
Gonna be in
like
full-blown
with the
tack.
radios, we don't have to worry about it. Like
Listen,
communication is there.
we just got no less than probably 20 in at Livewire. They were on a pallet. They were all I think I don't remember if they were like AT&T or some crazy, but they're all these walkie talkies, and we were making fun. We was like, you know, if the Walking Dead ever hit, we could just save these walkie talkies. But you know what, we may have to take some with us.
Yeah, because I mean, like when you're digging, the phone's in your pocket. Like I missed phone. You know, you miss phone calls, and then by the time you call back, it's like, man, I already bought it, or I passed on it. I'm on the other side of the floor now, or
I need one of those Motorola's that go right here like the police have, where I can just
that's what I use for work. Yeah. Steven's like, no, that's in the plan now. Like that's going.
No, I mean, I'm my brain's already thinking. I'm thinking that we could take it a step further and just cosplay as some kind of like security guards, so we can have the walkie on our hip, and then also maybe even like get some access to some places we never, you know, when we just start walking around, nobody's going to question us,
right? Yeah. See, we're nuts, Nick. I told you it's not just me.
Well, I don't know if you heard me. But like these some bitches are going to be in full-blown tactical gear.
Yeah.
You know, for a Comic-Con.
Yeah, before it's over. Yeah.
I
mean, who's
going to look at you guys differently because it is a Comic-Con.
Who gets a booth just to buy couches to put it down so we have a place to sit down and relax and meet up? I mean, who does that?
Did you know that, Nick? Did you know that was the plan?
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah.
We're getting a fern.
Yeah, we need a fern.
And then I've also heard the plan is just to leave everything there and let them deal with it because, well, you only needed the couches for a couple of days.
Yeah, yeah. Bobby's got plenty of space to sell books and stuff. I mean,
yeah, Bobby's
awesome.
got his real estate down there, and then all we're gonna have is like coolers, our stuff to drop off, like headquarters stuff, and the couches.
I should bring a couple of 5-gallon jugs of water, some really nice coffee, a coffee machine, and I'll sell some coffee for $1 a cup. And
I was thinking about renting like a Slurpee machine.
Look, we'll just gas station it up. We'll hit up Costco, sell candy bars for like, I mean, but it's got to be cheap, right? Selling volume, coffee, candy.
Now all we got to figure out a barricade. I mean, so that people don't think it's free range to just go hang out.
Well, the barricade is the table with the dollar books on.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. Bobby was gonna put. Okay.
Y'all are effing nuts.
We are, but it's the best kind of nuts you can be. There's nothing you can be this over the top about outside of comics. That's not. Well, at
least it's not crack cocaine.
Yeah,
I
mean,
exactly.
And I talked to Dale because I talked to Dale Roberts when I was there, and I told I know Dale does every big con, San Diego, New York, and I said, compare it to everything that you do. He said, C2E2, Baltimore, Heroes was his 3 big ones. He said San Diego has turned into more of an event than just a comic show. It said it's really an event now than from what it used to be. But those are the three. Dale said Heroes, C2E2, and Baltimore were his three. And I've heard a lot of stuff. A lot of people that I know talk about the Little Giant show or the Big Little. They say it's a small venue, a small type, but they really love that show.
Yeah, I think my buddy Como Comics was telling me about that one too, and I know Justin, and you can speak on it, Justin, as we're kind of talking about like our favorite shows, and Lawrence, I don't know if have you been to Baltimore?
No, but a bunch of guys that I've gone to shows with said that they used to go to Baltimore. It used to be one of their favorite shows, and that's kind of gone downhill in recent years. But I've never been.
Okay. You want to speak on Baltimore, Justin? Because I know that's the one you keep telling me now that you got me to Heroes. Like that's the other one I got to make this year.
Yeah, I like Baltimore because it feels as big as Heroes, but it feels a little bit more laid back. And I tend to like the amount of creators that go to that one. So Baltimore's a show that I like to go to get signatures and stuff like that.
Okay.
You know what we really should be discussing was which Comic-Con provides the best food. Justin, go.
Like the venue itself, or
no, the surrounding areas.
Oh, surrounding areas.
Heroes.
Oh yeah, definitely Heroes.
They got Potbellies and a cheesecake food truck that parks right outside our hotel.
I'm not going to be able to find
it.
It
sells it until like midnight
to be able to get out of this.
Dude, there's no way that you guys are saying, and I've never been to New York Comic Con, but there's no way you guys are saying that Charlotte, North Carolina has the best food venues. I mean, you're telling a guy clearly from the Northeast that come down to Charlotte because the food is the best here. I can't back that one, bud. I'm sorry.
Well, I'm just going based on what I've eaten because in my defense, I ate twice the whole weekend I was in Charlotte, and it was at the Potbellies sandwich shop. And it was fantastic. And that was because it was quick and I could get back to the damn show.
That's what happens when especially when I go to cons, I don't freaking eat, man. Like I just grab something and just go. Like I barely eat.
I'm pushing 400 pounds and I don't give a shit about eating when I'm at a show. That's all there is to it.
Yeah. Justin was like, I mean, he finally, I think one day he just left and went without me because I was like, hold on, dude, I'm not ready to go yet. And he's like, all right, I'm just gonna go, and you can just meet me when you get done or whatever. Like that was the first show Justin had been to with me without Nick, and so I think it was just kind of like at one point he called me. He's like, you're acting like the fucking comic book Terminator, dude. Like you won't just like shut off for a second. Let's go get lunch. Let's sit down. I'm like, dude, there's no way that I can have that happen right now.
Well, is that because I had already found the books that I was looking for? Like
maybe.
I think that might have had something to do with it.
I will say, I think Lexington has some of the best damn pizza I've ever had. That little hole in the wall.
Oof. Oh yeah. That little hole in the wall spot we found. Like you can't even sit down when you go in. You walk in, you go up to the counter, you order your pizza, and they've got like one little like bar that's big enough for like me and Nick to stand at and eat. And other than that, you can stand outside or walk down the street with it. But that pizza was incredible, and it's so cheap too. Let's see.
You know, and we were talking about like cons and stuff in general, and what moves or what's selling or what's not selling, like big books and stuff. But for me, the cons are the last frontier because the graded game is an online game. 99.9% of the stuff that you sell online is slabbed because it's easier. The customer knows what they're getting. There's far less returns, but the cons are critical to pick up raw books because I'm pretty sure that everybody on this panel has bought a 9.2 off of eBay, and it's definitely a 7.5 when it comes in. And that's the thing about the raw books. The cons offer that. The cons offer you the ability to go in, put your hands on raws, pick the books that you need, buy them at a fraction of the cost of a graded book, press, clean, and go. That's why for me, I mean, the cons, like I really want to hit Comic Cons that are just comic driven versus, say a pop culture show, because if I'm going to be there for 2 or 3 days, and the mindset is to find these books, man, you go through 4 or 5 dealers and the big dealers, and the dealers that you want to hit, and then you're there for 2 more days and there's nothing left for you. That's why for me, I will eventually narrow my stuff down to things like Heroes or Baltimore, and just hit those 4 or 5 shows a year. And the rest of the stuff I'll do is probably just things like Instagram, eBay, and like everybody else. But man, for me, the true cons are the last frontier for the raw books. I mean, that's the best place to get them.
I just feel like, speaking on Raws, like I'm with you. Like I'm almost exclusively looking for Raw books right now, and it's just they're almost pricing the Raws like they're graded copies. So it's getting harder and harder to find Raw books. And when I do find something that's marginally priced, like I'll jump on it. But it's getting hard.
It is, yeah. And
Yeah,
Lawrence,
I
these
saw a
guys
lot of
on
that.
I mean, you don't know me, but everybody on here knows that I love raw books. I will buy a really good high grade key, and I'll crack it out, and I'll put it in my Mylar. I'll put it in my 2 mil Mylar, and my Gerber backing board, and it looks better. It's just a better looking book. The books that are in my personal collection, almost all of them are all raw books. I cracked them out. I mean, I've shifted Steven and Dustin and everybody. They're like putting their stuff in Mylar. They look better. They
I
look better. But I
I agree
enjoy
with
the
you.
books raw.
What is it that you have? I forget what the book is that you have, Lawrence, that you've talked about several times. I've heard you mention, like, I'm probably not going to grade this one because at some point, this might end up being the last ungraded copy of this book, and I don't remember what it was, but I know I've heard you say it multiple times.
There's a lot of stuff, man. Up on my wall, I have like an entire ASM run from. It's actually starts at 2 because my 1 is slab, but it's all raw, 2 to 100.
Okay,
And I'm
Is
still,
your
I'm still
do
missing
you
a
have
few.
a AF-15 raw?
No, that's graded. That's great. I
Okay.
would love to find a raw one though, but
Yeah.
Mine's
I
raw,
really-
and mine's raw, and it'll always be raw because
Yeah.
there's no reason for me to grade it, and because if I grade it, I'm selling it, and I'm not selling it, so it's raw.
that's the whole thing. Like when I go to shows now, like I'm trying to find like that diamond and a rough that like you don't see anymore. Like you're never gonna see it. You rarely see an AF-15 raw. Maybe someone brings one into a shop and like, oh, look what somebody brought in, or they always send it off to be graded though. Always.
There's some buddies of ours that and they'll be at Heroes. They do Lexington and they'll be at Heroes, called Dangerously Terrific Comics. 90% of their wall is always raw books, and they'll have they went to Lexington not this year but last year. They had 2 raw Hulk 1s. They've got raw books. I mean, any big key you want.
Richie bought one of the Hulk ones.
Yeah. And they've got multiples of like these incredible books that you never see raw anymore, and you can just pick your grade. And I mean,
That's hard though, man. It's hard for me to be able to drop that kind of that money at a dealer that has a bunch of raw books. It's just, why aren't these? If you're a dealer, why aren't you sending these to be graded? I'm in my head. I'm trying to think what's the angle here, because it doesn't really cost that much to grade, and you might get lucky on a higher grade, or I mean, it just takes the guesswork as a dealer to present something that's slabbed and graded. But if you look at somebody that have all raw books, you're like, I'm not really great. I have a lot of experience. I'm not great at finding color touch all the time.
yeah.
I'm just not great at it. I don't have the confidence for me to be standing at a booth on top of a bunch of other bins, flipping through a Hulk 1 to make sure that there's no trimming. Forget about it. I have no chance for me to catch trimming. I mean, and yet here it is, and I have to make a decision of what to drop my money on here. And
Yeah.
I can't pull $15K out of my pocket to buy a book that I don't have the confidence that not going to come back purple or green.
Yeah.
I just can't do it.
I mean, you really have to know the dealer well. Like if it's just
Yeah.
someone if you know the dealer personally, then I would feel a little more better. But
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna say. I can't speak for all the vendors that do it, but I know Trey and these guys. I mean, I mean, I've over the years, I've got Trey's phone number in my phone. You know, we text and talk, and you know, they're the ones that threw me a vendor badge last year when they saw me standing in line. And you know, I know that they have a lot of clientele that, you know, isn't just like Comic-Con guys. Like they have guys that they hunt books for and stuff, and they're old school guys and want raw stuff, and they're the kind of guys that, you know, when they sell you something like that, they're going to remember it. And if something was to happen, like they're going to take care of you. But I definitely agree. Like if you don't know them like that, if it's just Jim Bob sitting over here and, you know, he's got, you know, a $20,000 book on the wall. Yeah, I definitely agree. Without being able to have the ability to know for sure when you're looking at it that it's legit. I mean, look at the guys we saw on Facebook. They got screwed with that. What was it? A Hulk 1 that he bought raw, and the whole damn thing was a sham.
No, he bought it was graded.
Oh, was that one graded? Or
Yeah.
was it the Cap 1 that was raw that we were looking at then?
Well, listen, and I'm not here to talk ill about somebody, but if you're going to drop that kind of money, you should do some research here. First of all, that Hulk 1 slab didn't look right to me. The minute you look at it, the font on the 6.5 was off. You could tell right away that wasn't. You've seen enough slabs over the last however many years to know that exactly the spacing between the numbers and where the dot is and all that. Second of all, that there is no, and I was talking to Jeff about this, there is no Cap 1 that has that yellow band on the top. That was clearly the Historical Society reprint of the book, weathered and made to look like it was an old book. And you got to do your research, man. You can't just get excited and just jump all over something because you think that you're about to screw somebody else out of a bunch of money because they don't know what they got. And then you turn around, you realize that you're the one that actually got screwed. So
yeah,
just take your time and do your research, man. And if the deal was meant to be, it'll be there and it'll happen. If it wasn't meant to be, guess what? There's 300 behind it that you're going to miss by sitting around and getting upset about that one deal. There's 300 better deals behind it that you're just going to like get depressed about and shrug. You got to shake that shit off and you got to move on and go after the next thing, man.
That's a conversation. I think that's something that I think Jeff said to me multiple times over the past year where I'll message him and be like, damn, dude, I can't believe I just missed like that Peter Pan book that I was showing him last night, you know, where first appearance of Peter Pan in Dell Comics, beautiful, beautiful copy of it. And I'm at work and got busy and didn't even, by the time I realized what was going on, I missed out on it. It sold for $23. And I mean, it had me just destroyed over it. I was just like, Jesus, man, like that I won't find that book for that cheap again. He's like, it popped up once, it'll pop up again. Like, you know, he found a really nice copy at a toy convention that, you know, didn't even expect to see something like that. So, yeah, sometimes it's hard to convince yourself of that kind of stuff. And like you and I talked about, Steve, about
the Iron Fist
FF5.
Oh, okay.
About the FF5, you know, you talked me down on that, and I was like, yeah, you know, that's the words you gave to me is something that I've said to I know Justin before about, you know, and actually it would happen this week. He was asking me about an ASM 1. It was signed by Stan Lee, and you know what I thought, and I was like, well, I said, for me, the question you have to ask yourself is Stan Lee's signature on that book worth not having a grade that's probably 2 points higher? Because you can get 2 points higher Blue Label for the same money you're going to spend on this lower grade Stan Lee signed one. And you know, so I think a lot of times it definitely helps to talk to someone you trust before you jump into something crazy like that too. Just to get somebody else's, you know, viewpoint on it. I called Jeff when I was at that South Carolina con, and I was looking at a first Mr. Freeze. By the time he got back to me, I'd already bought it, but you know, after we talked about it, I mean, I already knew just looking at this at numbers everywhere. I mean, I bought a 2.0 for cheaper than you can buy a 0.5 right now. So, I mean, I knew it was a good deal, but I still get to where like I want to just get a second opinion and get confirmation. Like, yeah, like, you know, that's, I would do that. And, you know, and I feel like I have a good handle on what I'm doing, but I mean, it's never a bad idea to get that second opinion for sure.
Absolutely.
Well,
Isn't that
I'm
right,
the wrong
Nick?
guy to I'm the wrong guy to talk anybody off the ledge when it comes to a comic book, because if you call me and ask me my opinion, I'm already thinking buy it. So I'm the wrong guy. I'm buy it. But Stephen, you talked about that cap. That kind of went away. That Captain America, the one that it was coverless, or the cover was
No,
detached.
it was just the cover.
Yeah, it was just a cover.
Mm-hmm.
After that called out as to be a fake, all that kind of went away, and it was in the back of my mind. Whoever did that they were good. I mean, they were really, really good, to the point that when I first looked at it, I thought it was real. I thought it was a legit cover.
If you look at anybody that when that started going around and you looked in the comments, you looked at some of the people that were making the comments about what they thought that just the cover was worth. Yeah. And if you look at the names of those people, people that own a Cap One or have that level of knowledge at age, I mean, everybody's going to know who they are. They're going to be people on Instagram or on Facebook that people are like, oh, I trust this person. This person is somebody that has that kind of knowledge because they own one or they've been in this golden age pool for a while. If you look at those comments, those people were in those comments and none of them detected it. And it's crazy to think about that, because like I said, at least 3 people in those comments owned a Cap One. And none of them looked at that and says, hold up, why is there a yellow stripe on top? Have I ever seen a copy with yellow at the top?
Yeah.
No, you haven't, because it doesn't.
No,
there's no such thing.
And then you and I went and looked at copies that were miscut, and we were trying to figure out, it was the yellow an alignment issue where it might make. And then we found some that was miscut and the yellow wasn't there.
It was red. The next color was red, not yellow.
Well, my thing was this: all of that vanished. All of that talk went away once the cover was established that it wasn't real. Everybody was like, "Oh, thank God, nobody bought it." Well, everybody forgot to think that guy's still out there. He was good enough. He was good enough to fool some actual owners and some of the best golden age guys. He fooled them right off the bat. So all he did was get a blueprint and how to figure out. His weathering is perfect. He gets the right cover. If he gets the right cover or puts his hands on the right book, he will absolutely pull it off. He'll fool somebody for a lot of money. Yeah. And I've ever since that cap, I've really paid a lot of attention on any significant raw book, because I'm thinking he's out there. That guy's out there. But all that stuff went away. Everybody just kind of quit talking about it. It was just there for a little bit. He was busted and he was gone. Well, nobody ever caught who did it. Nobody.
Yeah. And the only thing you can do, you can't expect there to be like a policing agency out here protecting us. There's only one defense to that, and it's knowledge and research. That's the only defense to protect yourself. That's all you can do is read up. Whenever you're about to make a purchase, stop and think, is this too good? Yes, it is too good. Okay, well, there are deals that are too good to be true, and they've been legit. So let me look into this. Let me research this. And we live in a day and age where not only do we have access to I mean, I can go and read Detective Comics 27 online. Somebody has scanned all the pages onto the internet. I could flip through that book on the internet, and it's like, we have the technology to go out, spend the time, do the research. And if you're not sure how to do it, reach out to the 27 people that follow you on Instagram that you interact with every single day that might have that knowledge. Reach out to your network. That we all are excited to talk about this, clearly, because we've sat here on a Saturday night and an hour and a half of our time and talked about it. Yeah. So we're excited to talk about these things. Message some people. You know how many times I get messages from people that I don't really know, say, hey, can I ask your opinion on this? I'm absolutely happy to share. I'm not saying I know everything, but I might have experience in that one specific thing that this person has, and I'm happy to share that. And just return the favor. Reach out when you need something, and return the favor when somebody reaches out to you. That's my favorite part of this community.
Yeah, absolutely. I had the opportunity to do that at that South Carolina show, and it was, I mean, even more so than being able to walk out of there with a book that I've really been wanting. It was definitely the highlight of the show. I was standing there at what's his name? I can't remember. What's his name, Jeff? The the big dealer that was there.
Rick.
That Rick.
Talking about Rick.
Yeah. So I was standing at Rick's booth and talking to Rick and
New Force Comics. New Force Comics.
Yes. So I'm digging through his Silver Age bins and we're talking, and this young kid comes up and he asked me, he was like, "Do you collect comic books?" And I was like, "Oh hell yeah, man!" I was like, "That's literally, if I'm not at work and, well, hell, who am I kidding?" I said, "That's all that's on my mind all the time. I mean, it fuels the blood." And he's like, "Oh, okay." He's like, I've never had any or gotten into it. I was like, "You just looking for a push? You looking for a nudge off the ledge?" I was like, "Cause I mean, I'll tie a rope around you and pull you down real quick, man." And, I sat there and talked to this kid for like at least a half hour, and he's asking me, I don't know where to start and, what kind of things to buy. So, who's your favorite superhero? I said, that's an easy way in. Who's your favorite superhero? And he's like, "I love the Flash." I said, "Okay, cool." Take him over to Rick's box with the Flash books. I was like, "Look, here's some old Flash." I was like, "There's booths around here that's got new Flash." I said, "You just start buying." I said, "Just start. If Flash is your guy, just start buying some Flash. Pay attention to the artwork on the cover and the inside." I said, "Eventually you'll start noticing, I really like how the Flash looks here. And, oh, he looks the same on this cover." Then you'll say, "Oh, okay, you know what? I really like this artist." So then you're not just buying Flash, you're buying that artist. And maybe now you're buying some Green Lantern. Maybe you're buying whatever. I said, so now you're following artists. And then you start looking at other artists and other characters. You start reading it. Then you're following storylines and characters and stuff that you're enjoying. I said, dude, there's so many branches on this tree that you're never going to be able to climb them all. I said, and that's the best part of it. I said, also, I was like, you can take in as much of this stuff as you want to, and it's not going to kill you. It's not going to make your heart explode. It might make you go broke, but I was like, it's just one of the pure hobbies that you can get into. That if you're doing it the way you're supposed to, it's not going to bring you anything but joy. And I gave him my phone number, told him check our YouTube channel out, ask us any question. I mean, and I was just like, that was something that was I was so proud to be able to do now. And because Nick and I didn't have that, we got the complete opposite of that when we first got in. We got told that the books we walked up to the counter with were garbage, and they couldn't believe that they were even selling that stuff, much less somebody was trying to buy it. Mm-hmm. And once I got over the urge to rip him over the counter and tear his head off, and I was just like, I don't want anything to do with this, man. Like, this is how these people are with this comic book shit, man. I'm done. This was literally the first day I walked into a comic shop, and it took a lot for me to even get the gallop to walk into a comic shop. So yeah, I mean, I agree with Steven for sure. I mean, there's plenty of us out here that love every aspect of this hobby. You can find somebody to answer any question you could have. I mean, reach out to until you find that one person that knows. And most of us, if we don't know it, we know somebody that does.
That's right.
And that's
and he's on this podcast right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say we won't give you his information, but we will ask Jeff for you.
No. Lawrence, do you have like a crew that you go with to cons and stuff, man? Or is it just you? Or
it depends. Like the King Con that I went to, like literally I knew like a lot of guys that went there because they're all from the area, whether through New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania. So we all kind of congregated there. I didn't go with them, but I usually have a few guys that I do like live like real local that I go to stuff with. I'm actually trying to convince, just like you guys are trying to convince me to come down to you guys. I'm trying to convince a guy from Tennessee and a guy from Australia to come to New York Comic Con this year, just to kind of hang out, because we've actually never met in person. So
where in Tennessee? That's where I am.
Oh, really? Guy's name is Jason. He has Omega Collects on Instagram and on YouTube.
Oh yeah, I like Omega. I don't know what cities. I think he's maybe in Memphis.
Yeah, he's from Syracuse, New York. I think around that originally, but I'm trying to get him to come up. So yeah,
solid dude.
Wow.
Well, listen, when if you come to Heroes Con, we're adopting you into our group anyway. So if you don't have anybody to run with or whatever, man, you're with us.
I appreciate that, man. And listen, from the way you guys speak about it, I might not have a choice. I might have to go. But it's
only if you like to have good times.
Yeah, if it's a drive, though, I might have to drag somebody with me just to kind of keep me awake in a car.
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely worth it. Absolutely.
Yeah, I didn't go last year, and now literally it's from the last day it ended last year up until now. I'm being forced to go. It's
What
not
what
an option. I was actually looking
what
at flights while we were on here, and I thought I found a cheap one for like $160 a direct from Nashville. But by the time you add on all the fees, it's like $400. I'm like, I'll just drive the 7 hours by myself, all alone.
And like, even though he's coming, like, I'm still not satisfied because I'm like you can't. No, you have to you have to be there Friday morning, and he can't do it. And I'm just like, well, it's not even worth coming if you can't be there Friday morning, Saturday morning, and Sunday morning, all day long, every day, the whole time. Like,
Because you're
you
sick.
know,
Josh, look. Are we staying with Justin?
yes.
Okay, so I don't think there's any more room in the hotel room, but if you want to go, get you a hotel and I'll drive.
You can you're rooming with Tyler now that he's coming though.
No, we'll put Josh with Tyler. Between the two of them, liking to show body parts, it'll be perfect.
Yeah.
We weren't at Free Comic Book Day 30 seconds, and I had seen Josh's belly that quick.
Good Lord.
It was the funniest thing.
Josh is the guy that you met when we were in Atlanta. Jeff, the big, humongous.
7'12".
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a big
gargantuan of a
dude,
In
dude.
the con video, he's the guy that has Dustin in his shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's he's like I talk about you, man. One of the most just genuine people you'll ever meet. Just, I mean,
Yeah. He said
good,
he was a
good all the
guy.
way down to the bone.
If it wasn't for Josh, neither one of us probably would still be collecting comic books.
I would have never started. I mean, after we left the shop where the guys treated us like dirt, Nick was like, "Let me take you to where I go," and yep, there I am. And he took me to meet Josh, and Josh asked what kind of comic books I was into, and I was like, "Well, I saw this picture of this Power Ranger, and I was into Power Rangers when I was a kid, and it said it was only in comics, so I was kind of disappointed because I was just interested to see something new."
Yeah.
I haven't even watched or looked at anything Power Rangers since I was a kid, but I was like, this looks interesting. And, Josh looks at this as a gateway to bring someone into the fold. So he takes this Boom Studios exclusive limited mystery box that he knows is full of like some heavy shit if you're a Power Rangers collector, and he makes me a hell of a deal on it. Pretty much, I think he sold it to me for what he got it for.
It was like half price, yeah.
Yeah, he said, but you have to open it here. And I was like, that's totally fine. And so I got to open it there at the shop and look through it. And they're, we're checking it out. I'm asking, I have people there that I can ask questions. What is this? And what does this mean? And what does this mean? And, from then on, I mean, I think by the time I got back to Nick's house, I had already filled up an eBay watch list, had already bought shit. I mean, it literally was an immediate, it was like a needle straight into my bloodstream, and it hasn't. I've never pulled it out.
And see, I wasn't like that when I first started collecting. It wasn't until Dustin got involved where I started buying $800. Not buying individual $800. We would get on these online auctions on Facebook back when that was like the big thing, Facebook Live auctions. And we would literally just be sitting there bidding each other up on this Phil. What's his name? Durbin? I think that's his last name. No. Phil. Oh, I can't remember.
Name. Langston.
Yes. His Facebook Live auction. And we would be sitting there bidding each other up on some dumb dollar books. But I refused to let Dustin have it, or he would refuse to let me have it. And we would have, I personally at one point had $800 boxes showing up full of stuff I couldn't even tell you was in there, but I was not going to let Dustin have it. That's the kind of, but that's the effect Dustin had on the hobby for me. And I was like, whoa, got to calm that. Still,
So is that the reason why when we look at the pricing charts on GPA now, we see this spike and then this steep decline down because people like you were just bidding against each other?
Middle finger to Dustin.
just a back and forth pissing match, right?
Oh yeah, dude. I was literally like, I'm not kidding either. Like I would be in the shower in the middle of these auctions, and I'd see something pop up, and I'd see Dustin start bidding. I'm like, oh, this has got to be something good, and I got to get on it. And I swear to God, there was a the Infinity Gauntlet. Who did it?
Oh, it was the one where it's
How do
the
you
cover where Thanos is small and he's like,
Yeah.
come at me, bro, or something.
Yeah, it was like the funniest thing, and it was like a $5 book. I think by the
I'd
time
never even seen it before, but I
Yeah.
wanted it, and he was not about to let me have
I
it.
I spent like 65 bucks on it just so Dustin couldn't have it, and I still don't even know if I even own it anymore. It could have been one of those boxes I went and dropped off at Josh. I was like, Josh, I have no clue I bought this. I'm not gonna sell any of it. Here you go. You just maybe you can
Or
use
like
it.
that Hulk 340. Phil had a Hulk 340 that was, I mean, immaculate, and
Beautiful.
I'd never seen that book before, so you can imagine the first time you see that cover, like it blows your socks off. And I had commented on there after Phil put it up for sale, hey, if you can wait, I can buy that from you when I get
Nope.
paid next week. And this jackass right here says Ben and
Buy it
buys it.
now.
So I'm thinking like,
Dude,
okay,
how are you
like,
guys friends at all?
We're not. We're
anymore?
brothers.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
like, how do
You
you
don't
even
have to be
talk
friends
to
when
each
you-
other?
right? Well, here's where like I was thinking at first I got pissed and I was like, oh, he's just messing with me. He's just gonna be like, give me the $90 for it and we're square. No, hell no. He was dead ass. I never got the book. He got it graded. And I
Hell
told him,
yeah.
I was like, I hope that son of a bitch comes back a 9.6, just close enough that you thought it was gonna hit and it don't.
So
And
I
he came back a 9.6
signed by
Todd
T.
McFarlane.
McFarlane, and I would have kept that book for forever. But the fact that Todd McFarlane signed it T. McFarlane pissed me off
Yeah.
to no end. So I traded it for this book.
Yeah.
Ah,
So I
Which-
never got it.
Yeah, no.
first Mickey Mouse in the Marvel Comics universe,
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah.
I do genuinely love this.
I
book.
told him, I said that's your karma for doing that to me. You got a 9.6, and it was one of the first times that we had ever seen T. McFarlane and not the full Todd. I was like, that's what you get for being an asshole.
But even though you are competitive, I mean, if you didn't have each other or you weren't doing it, if you didn't, would you even be in it? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Me and Steven talk about that. I know me and Dustin and Nick as well. I mean, it's like I got Nick and Dustin both on a group text. And to me, if and my hat's off to these dealers that show up by themselves, they're doing it for the dollar. If I didn't have somebody to share this stuff with, if I didn't have somebody, the wins and the conversations, I wouldn't be doing it. The money, everything, none of that would matter to me if I didn't have somebody to share it with. And like my brother goes to the cons with me. I see all y'all at cons, my nephew, and it's every day. I mean, y'all have been to Livewire, my brother's business. We're down there on Monday checking. I mean, literally, I was texting with, I was DM Steven like at 4:00 in the morning the other morning. I caught him on Instagram. It's like 4 a.m. I checked grades, knowing nobody's at CGC, and I was like, why am I checking grades at 4:00 in the morning? And it's like
it's just a reflex. It's a
a reflex.
That's all.
But
it
it's
is.
like it's like if I didn't have that, like you talking about Dustin, you and Nick, the competitiveness and things like that. But it's about the books. The laugh, you guys are laughing about it now. That book that Dustin's got, that Nick's got, it's funny. It means something. All that generates from that story.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. Like Steven's giving me some great books. And Dustin's giving it in every, like the Superman newspaper clip you get, all that stuff means something to me. And that's what it's about. All the stuff that means stuff in my private and personal collection. If I didn't have somebody to share it with, like you was talking with your brother and with y'all, I wouldn't be doing it. I wouldn't be doing it. To me, that's what it's about.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
because I started it kind of on my own, and because basically I really loved the MCU, and I'm like, man, I want to see what this is all about, which was honestly a mistake because comic books have ruined the MCU for me. But I it's just not that either. It's like I read the Lord of the Rings series, read the Hobbit series. Those were my favorite movies. Then you read the source material, and you're like, oh, maybe they're not as good as you thought. But it totally changed the game whenever Dustin showed up. And again, I mean, it turned into like we were both like he's still sick, but I was in that sickness where it was like, man, we didn't miss a Facebook Live auction.
Oh, you talked about the shower thing. There's been so many different times where I've got to get in the shower, get ready for bed, get ready for work. And I've still got YouTube auctions on speaker listening because I'm waiting for that one book that I know is coming. And I swear to y'all, hand to God, my wife thought that I had tore the house down because I was waiting on, and I forget what Turtles book it was. I think it was the second print of number 7, but it was a high grade copy, and I was waiting for it to go up. And I heard him put it up, and I go to get out of the shower, don't realize the rug is not there. And I fall and bust my ass. I mean, I am sprawled out the same way I came into this world. And I'm literally clawing up to the bathroom counter, trying to grab my phone. And I'm laying there on my back, bidding and winning this damn comic book. And then telling them, I hope y'all know I am soaking wet, ass naked, laying on my bathroom floor, fall out the shower to win this book. But I got it.
Because well,
You still
Whatnot,
got
you
the
know,
book.
on Whatnot has kind of
Mhm.
spoiled everybody because you can just, you know, there's no sniping or any of that. Back then on YouTube, Facebook, like, dude, I would have a stopwatch and I would know that delay, you know, whether it was 17 seconds that night or 12 seconds or whatever. And like I'm hitting the button, I'm gonna be that last mother effer putting in my final bid. You know, even if I've been back and forth with Dustin or whoever, I'm like, dude, it was crazy. But that was honestly some of the funnest times. And definitely some of my more broke times, right? Where it's like, if I would have had half the money back on that I do now, I would have probably could have bought 2 ASM ones, right? I mean, I spent stupid monies.
God, this
on-
is so insightful to listen to you guys tell me this because I didn't have I was kind of on the other side
Yeah.
of it, you know, and just to listen. I mean, how many of those stories exist in the world talking about 2020 and 2021? And you're like, why did it happen? Why did it spike in April of 2020? Why did it spike again in June of 2021? And it's like, because not only were you guys doing stuff like this and having fun with it, you couldn't stop doing it because it was your entertainment at the
Yeah.
time.
Well, and this was probably
Luckily,
back-
none of this was stuff that could be recorded on,
yeah.
you know, GPA or any price
Right.
point place.
And this
but-
would have been back before Ellie was born. So this
yeah,
was
this was actually like in like
16,
2019.
17, something
So
like that, maybe.
Oh, really?
yeah, so this was
Oh,
like
okay.
pre-blow up. By the time everything was blowing up, we had smartened up. I didn't buy a single thing during that time period. I bought 2 books and I got both of them cheaper than the 2019 prices. And both of the books I have them now, even after they've dropped so much, I'm still like $300 to $400 lower than what the lowest price is right now because I got good deals on them. But I did not buy a thing at that point because I was just like, there's no way. Like, there's no way it can stay like this.
Jeff, speaking of which, of books that are yours that I bought you, I don't know if I haven't showed it to you yet.
Mm,
Yeah, so
Oh, that's cool.
there it is.
man,
Yeah,
that's great. That's gorgeous.
What a crazy cover, huh?
Oh yeah.
I know it. I
Wow.
love that cover.
Yeah, it and
Love it.
boy, that smells good.
And listen, I told my wife, I said we should do a car freshener that smells like old comic books and sell
Oh
them at
wow,
comic shops.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
you doing that, Jeff, it would probably just be the smartest idea, and you'd be just making millions off of it like that.
No, and
That-
Jeff, you would
yeah,
just
you-
give them away to everybody that came up anyway.
You would have to. I mean, old comic book smell. Everybody deserves their car to smell like old comic books. So yeah, we'd have to give those out.
Oh yeah. I'd hang them all over my comic room. I mean,
I was thinking the same thing. I would have them all over the place in here.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my God.
oh, all right. Well, I mean, shoot, we're coming up on 2 hours. I tell you what, this has definitely been a great conversation, a fun time. So I hope we're able to definitely get together again and talk. It sounds like we'll be able to do that at Heroes now that Nick and Lawrence are coming, and you know, we're all going to be hanging out there. Lawrence is like, oh man,
No, listen.
Yeah.
If I could get there, I got to run it by the wife and whatever. I don't even know the date. So if I
Yeah.
can get there, I would definitely go.
yeah.
It's Father's Day weekend.
Oh, can't go. Sorry, Dustin. I'm a fan.
Yeah,
No,
I told my kid and my wife, I was like, look, it looks like they're doing this every Father's Day weekend until I die. So, you know what? I mean,
Well,
that's the
you
best
tell
way
the
to
actually
wife
work.
that you're going to pick up your Father's Day gift for
There
her.
you
Yeah.
go.
You're going to pick up your Father's Day gift for her,
Yeah.
There you
and she
go.
can
That-
give it to you when you get back.
Or the
that'll
gift
go
is,
over real well.
or the gift
Yeah,
is
yeah,
just
right.
let me go guilt free every
Yeah.
year and don't worry about it. Like that's your Father's Day gift. Just you get to do this for the weekend. So
She might be happy to get rid of me for the weekend.
absolutely, I feel the same way.
Well, if you don't end up being able to come, I promise I will not FaceTime you while I'm there, and you know,
You-
make you
You
die inside a little for what you're
you
seeing.
won't have time. It sounds like. Forget it.
Yeah,
You
that's
won't have
that's
time
for
for that.
sure,
That's
man.
true.
No,
Yeah.
there's no way. Like he's not gonna interact. He's not gonna be. It's a sickness, dude.
I already feel bad because there's like a big group of guys that we've known here on YouTube for a long time, and they're all going this year. Everybody's showing up. It's like I guess everybody picks one show every year and tries to meet up, and this is the one they're picking. And I'm like, yeah, I'll be there. Yeah, I'll be there. And I'm just like, oh, you're coming. That's cool. And then I sit down and I stop and I think about it. I'm like, y'all ain't gonna see me though.
Our
That's the thing.
reputation's gonna be shot. Dustin's, people are gonna.
Oh, I'm like I said, I'm sure after last year, you know, Remy walked by me. I threw him a hey, and I never stopped walking though. It was a hey. Justin stopped. I lost Justin. Didn't see him for hours. He was like, dude, I could not find you. I was like, I've been right here. I ain't moved in hours, dude. Same booth. And I mean, multiple people. I gave him a hey, you know, shoot the breeze for literally a couple seconds. Like, all right, man. Well, I got to go. And you know, I'm like, these guys probably think I'm a total asshole, but you know, don't hold it against me. It's just
Well,
I can't stop.
business. This is business.
Yeah, everybody that's Heroes Cons veterans, they know that you know the Star Wars moment where they're outside the Sarlacc pit, and they're just everybody's nodding. They got that little quick nod.
Mhm.
You know, that's what Heroes Con's about. No conversation, just a quick nod. Go. Everybody knows that.
Hmm.
You know, got to get this stuff in.
A great tool to have at a show like that, and I think we were able to execute it really well last year. Well, and there he goes.
And he's off. He must be going to Heroes Con already. So.
A great tool. Oh, a great tool for a show like that. And Jeff and I executed it very well. Britt and I mean, we almost mastered it.
If you say catheter, I'm off the show.
No.
Honest to God, though, I wouldn't put it past any of you guys at this point.
It's the ability to have a buddy that you're hunting with that knows what you're looking for. You know what they're looking for, and that gives you twice a chance to find it. Whatever it is, you may not even know what it is, but it gives you twice a chance to find it. If you got someone there with you, and you know when you find it, like, hey, Britt needs this. Let me hit him up. Or Jeff needs to look at this.
Yeah.
And I mean, you know, that Britt and I have talked about it. We're like the perfect mesh of hunting buddies because he knows so much about the modern stuff and the variants and all of that. And you know, I am more into the golds, you know, not as much in the golden age then, but more now, but the silver age and the older stuff. So we bounce stuff off of each other constantly while we're digging through these bins. And, you know, I might find something and I'm like, hey, is this, I feel like I've seen this before. And, you know, he'll know exactly what it is and he'll do the same thing. And so like, you know, I love when me and Britt get together and hunt, and same thing with Jeff. I mean, which, you know, Jeff's just you know, he knows everything. So, I mean, you know, it doesn't have to be a modern or a bronze or a silver. Like, you know, if you're not sure what it is, he's going to know. So, but
Lawrence,
I mean, you can,
Lawrence, don't let them fool you, brother. I'm even looking at TV guides. I don't even care if it's got something crazy on it that I think it's not even comics. I'm just wired crazy, man. I'm looking at everything.
That's knowledge, man. That's not crazy. That's knowledge.
yeah. I mean, yeah, I don't know, man. I don't see how you could ever get enough of this. That's
one thing at Heroes I really would like to see if there's a Teenage Diary 6, the first that Marilyn Monroe covered. I would really like to see one of those in person because I've been waiting for one for a long time and nothing pops up for sale. So that one, if Heroes can produce that, then I'll be impressed. But I'm thinking that may be the only shot I've got to find one. So
yeah,
hopefully.
Absolutely. Well, you guys, anybody have any last parting words or anything before we roll out of here?
Lawrence, reach out. Lawrence, if you got anything you're looking for or whatever, man, I'll get your number, get my number from these guys, and hit us up, man. I mean, we're all family. Hit us up. We talk this stuff all day. we text everybody. We text 3-4 times a day, man. So hit us
absolutely,
up. We'll
man.
help you find whatever.
Absolutely, I appreciate that.
Dustin, I just sent you and Jeff a link to a male external catheter. It's not invasive. You're good to go. Hook it up with you and your walkie-talkies. Get you a Camelback and some.
I want
MREs.
mine with a Batman logo. Can you get mine with a Batman logo?
There you go.
Right where the drip pinches off.
My senior year in college, we went to Mardi Gras, and if you've ever been down to Mardi Gras, you know that you can't use the bathrooms. I mean, it's so crowded. There's no, and they won't let you just walk in to use the bathroom. So it's really hard, and you tend to be drinking liquids too at the time. So we did it. We did the catheter thing. We ran a hose. We ran a hose down one of the pant legs, and we tucked the end of the hose into our shoe. And then when it was time, we would just reach down, pull the hose out, and just keep walking. So, yeah.
It just seems like it would be so painful to get one in and out.
No. It was external.
Okay.
Yeah. There was nothing being inserted.
I didn't know that was I didn't know that was a thing.
Look at this man. He's sick. He's about to get one.
Yeah, no.
I'm like that sounds way more reasonable now.
Yeah, no. It's external.
Now that you know that somebody that's actually done it.
Yeah. And I remember my friend had not realized that his had come off like loose, and reached down and pulled the hose out and started walking. And he's like, "Well, that doesn't feel right." And and then you realize that at some point it just doesn't matter anymore. So.
Oh my God.
That'd be me digging in a box, be like,
Well, how's that for a closing parting shot?
right?
Well, so it's like that dude at Huntsville, man. He was just in the middle of one of the busiest aisles, had a long box or a short box put up between his legs, just splayed out in the middle of everybody, just digging. He didn't care. I was gonna put him in the video, but decided maybe he didn't want that. I don't know. I thought that might embarrass him. But I did find it funny. One of Britt's shot I put in there. I don't know if you saw it or not, Jeff, of him kind of doing like this, like a 90s TV sitcom, like should have popped up a name tag. I thought it was so funny. And then I got Ryan's big.
You should have slowed it down where his long flowing hair would.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. If he didn't have the ponytail up, man, that would have been perfect.
Oh yeah, it was so funny.
Oh, awesome. Well, I hope. I don't think I'll be honest with you. I completely forgot that there's a chat here with people watching tonight. I don't think I've ever just completely forgotten that there's a chat here. So I apologize to everyone watching tonight.
Oh gosh.
Hello all. Bye all.
Terribly sorry. But I mean I guess that just goes to show, how great a time it was. Great conversation. I always love getting to chat with Steven and Jeff and Lawrence. I mean, we definitely don't talk enough because me and Lawrence can get together and just talk and never stop. I mean, hell, me and any of you guys, I mean, always a good time. So Nick's okay too every now and then.
I even had a great conversation with Justin y'all weren't privy to. So
well, there you go.
This is a blast, man. I totally enjoyed it.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah. I
really appreciate you guys having me on, man.
Oh yeah, for sure, dude.
Me
I'm
too,
glad
man.
I'm glad you were able to come. I wasn't sure what you'd have going on if you'd be able to come on, but I'm glad with that you're able to for sure.
This is what I have to go on, just getting
Well,
this thing
this
organized.
is better than all of us texting each other for every 30 minutes. So
That's true.
Yeah, because that's what we would be doing.
So Jeff said he's officially coming on to the Babylon as a Justin replacement is what he just committed to.
uh,
By the time it's done with, the way he commits to things, he'll have a setup twice as good as mine.
listen, I can never outdo you on this. I promise you. Listen, I had a personal guy drive down and make sure I was set up properly just to do this show.
Oh, I heard.
Yeah. So I doubt I'll ever catch up with you, man.
I was texting. I don't even know when we were texting Dustin, but he was like, "All right, hold on, I'm going to Jeff's. Got to take him a webcam and get him set up." I was like, "Oh, this is getting serious."
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So yeah, we're definitely going to drag
appreciate
Jeff
y'all
in
letting me on though, man. Because listen, at my age, this is about as close as Christmas morning as it gets. So,
oh yeah, I'm positive we will end up having you back on and dragging you on because I know this is your sitting down there time anyway. So, I mean, hey, if you ain't got nothing going on, man, just holler and yeah, any of you guys. I mean, always welcome anytime. So. If you guys are not
Appreciate it.
checking Lawrence out, like I said, on YouTube, Mighty Comics and Collectibles, also on Instagram. He's got a great website. He's putting out some kick-ass t-shirts, and I love the Doom one. I was looking at the Doom one the other day, and he wore it tonight. So love the t-shirts for sure. So he's doing great videos. I never ever miss the he does the eBay video, and I really like that one a lot. That's one of the new ones we started doing. But the first thing that caught me on to Lawrence was when he started doing the top 10 breakdown every week. So I don't you can go ahead and tell him about that, man, and let him know what you're doing, dude.
So Hot 10, just like Comic Tom does every week, except I tell you which books I'd be buying at the price that they're selling for, and then which I'd be kind of staying away from. That's all. So like, I just give you my opinion. I'm not telling you guys what to do, but with the way the market is right now, I think you just got to be careful. That's all. The eBay thing, I just take 6 books that sold the prior week, and we just cover them, see like how they did, if they overspent, stuff like that.
Yeah, and
Cool, yeah.
he breaks it all down and gives real real data. It's not just him giving his opinion on what the book should be selling for. He's actually showing you guys the data of what they are actually selling for now versus what they were selling for before. And like he said, the thing that I really liked about Lawrence was he's given what I would do if it was my money. If I'm buying it, would I buy this book right now? No, he's not telling you shouldn't go buy it. Or you shouldn't sell it. He just, talking about what he would do. So I think that's something that is always cool. Getting that, like I said, it's getting that second opinion again. So, and Steven's on Instagram. You guys can catch him on. You're on with Elite. I know you guys got a big sale coming up.
Oh yeah, Jeff does. I mean, I'll be there, but it's more for Jeff show, which you should definitely be tuning in for.
Yeah.
Yeah. When's the sale? What's the details on that?
May 17th. Me, Excelsior Slabs, Steven, of course. We're gonna have some, maybe a couple other things, and there's a couple of surprise things. We've got some original Liefeld art. Some really good Silver Age keys. Most of the art's published art. A nice set of covers.
How about toys?
There's gonna be some good stuff.
Any toys?
Maybe. I think we may break out a few high grade AFA, some extra stuff. A couple of Cage Fresh AFA sets of the early Evel Knievel stuff, mid 70s. There may be, we just kind of want to do something a little bit different. We told Ali that, we were going to try to bring something a little different to the table. So, maybe some Star Wars stuff, and most graded, most early first gen Star Wars stuff. So yeah, we'll have some stuff, but of course, Ali Morad, Excelsior Slabs. I mean, she's, his stuff. I mean, all that early pre-code horror, golden age stuff. Between what he's got, I'm going to bring some really cool Silver Age stuff, and
I saw everything Jeff has to put in this sale last night, and it is legit. Some good shit.
Oh, he's got great stuff. You talking about a great guy? He's a great guy. So I mean, we're good. And you talking about first class? I mean, he's first class. He's got everything already set up, tested all the lighting. He's funny, man. He's a great guy. So it ought to be a good sale.
Oh yeah. So you guys make sure you are following Elite Comics 11 on Instagram so you guys can catch that sale. I know if Ali is throwing deals like he did the last time he was on, you guys are definitely be able to catch some good books at some great books at some good deals. And like I said, I was being nosy, flipping through all the bins Jeff had laid out last night that he's going to be bringing. There was ASM1 in there. There's modern stuff in there. There's golden or Silver Age. There's Bronze Age. There's first appearances. There's number ones. I mean, he's got some awesome stuff. So I mean, there's if you can't find a book on that sale that you're looking for, then or something that at least piques your interest, then I don't know that this is the hobby that you're really into, because these guys are definitely gonna be bringing it. So I know Steven's always got some awesome stuff too. I see it in person, so he's always got some awesome stuff. So make sure you guys are following all these guys on Instagram, following Lawrence on IG and YouTube as well. You don't have to follow us, because if you're here, I guess you are. But But yeah, great show. Really appreciate everybody coming to hang out. Nick,
Thank y'all.
Thanks
Yeah.
for having us.
Oh, you were gonna say something sweet about me too?
no, I was just gonna let you wrap it
I
up.
love you, Nick. I love you. He don't. I do. So
At least somebody cares. At least somebody cares. I mean, dang. Nothing. I don't get a sweet word. I don't get anything.
Hold on, I might have something. Let me see. Hold on.
Well, this is awkward now.
Here we go. For anybody that thinks I don't love my little brother, I used to.
Oh.
Olin Mills.
It
Is that
absolutely
Olin
is.
Mills?
It absolutely is. And I got one more, Nick.
Uh-oh. I thought you thought it was hilarious. You showed your
For everybody that thinks that I'm the redneck of the family, I am.
Oh Lord.
Nick has definitely
That's Woody.
strong-
That's
he's
Woody.
definitely
There's a snake in his boots.
Are you not gonna
So-
show the picture of your old ball pictures? Your old balls?
Oh yeah, if you guys want to see my old ball pictures, they're on Instagram.
I swear to God, when Steve Hinton said that,
I
I'm
put up basketball pictures when I played basketball.
Oh,
in
thank
high
you for
school,
clarifying that because that was very
Yeah,
long.
yeah.
And that was the
thinking the
comment
same
I
thing.
got.
I
That
heard
was the
old
comment I
balls, I'm
got.
like, what?
I didn't even think about it when I posted it until that comment rolled in. I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah. If you
Yeah,
guys
so
want to
here's
see some old,
context.
if you want to see some old balls, I'll
Listen,
yeah.
I mean, we had a man admit that he was walking around with a catheter in it at Mardi Gras. So I wasn't gonna dismiss it after the night.
I swear to
man.
God, if I start seeing a trail of liquids, I'm
Yeah.
running the other way.
Yeah, you'll know what's up. You know what time it is.
Now I know what's happening. Are y'all gonna get a porta potty delivered to y'all's
Jesus.
Oh, now that wouldn't be a bad idea. Just have our own personal bathroom at the booth.
I think there's a restroom really
Oh, yeah.
in between us and the next booth. So
Yeah,
the
they
food.
have a fair
And the
amount.
food.
and there's some food there too. So it should be okay.
Oh yeah. All right, guys. Well, thanks for everybody watching. Hope you all have a good rest of your weekend. And I think you could catch us back here next week. Me and Nick will be here doing something probably. So y'all have a good one.
collect your way.